which is about communication for relationship building, is not all taught. Core principle communication, which is have 5. For the first one is words, second body language, third visual acts, fourth listening, and the last one is unselfishness to help a person make the correct buying decision. Communication, it takes two parts. For the first one, communication in a sales context is the act of transmitting verbal and non-verbal information and understanding between seller and buyer. Then communication also exchange process of sending and receiving message with some type of response expected between seller and buyer. Salesperson buyer communication process require feedback. The basic communication model has 8 elements. For the process is source about salesperson, goes to noise and encoding development of sales presentation message. About message and medium, the actual sales presentation, decoding about buyer interpret sales presentation, noise, receive the buyer receive the message. Then adaptive selling based on buyer's type. Adaptive selling, salesperson uses his or her communication to show he or she is compatible with the buyer. Compatibility increases potential for the buyer to like and trust the salesperson. How do you build compatibility? To adjust our sales approach to the best meet the needs and personality style of the customer. Adaptive selling based on buyer's type. People's personality affect buying behavior by influencing the types of products that fulfill their particular needs. Personality. The individual's distinguishing character traits, attitudes, or habits. We need to understand personality to adapt your presentation to the buyer's style, which is about thinker, intuitor, feeler, and sensor. Thinker is about direct, detail-oriented persons likes to deal in sequence of his or her type, very precise, sometimes seen as a nitpicker, fact-oriented. Intuitor, knowledgeable, future-oriented person, innovator, who likes to abstract principle from a mass of material, active in community affairs by assisting in policy making, program development, Feeler, people-oriented, very sensitive to people's needs and emotional person rooted in the past, enjoys contact with people, able to read people very well. Sensor is about action-oriented person, deal with the world through his or her sense, very decisive and has a high energy level. Sales tip adapting to your customer. Salesperson consider how they structure elements of sales conversation. Has rapport, presenting information, challenging or facilitating, and closing. For rapport, does buyer appreciate more relationship building rapport? Does the buyer prefer to be more focused and move directly to the objective of the meeting? Presenting information, does the buyer prefer more detailed data, which is about charts and graph or other quantitative data, or a more descriptive discussion about testimonial white papers? Challenging or facilitating, does buyer appreciate someone who challenges beliefs or someone who acts as a guide? And closing, does the buyer want to make a decision immediately or will the buyer need time to think through the alternative? Then about nonverbal communication. Concept of space, territorial space, area around the self that a person will not allow another person to enter without consent. Socially acceptable distances of space that people keep between themselves in certain situations. Communication through appearance and handshake. Shake hand firmly and look people in the eye. General handshake rules. Demonstrate your interest. If possible, align your body position with the buyer. Step or lean ever so slightly forward and initiate the handshake. Third, maintain eye contact with the buyer and then show a positive attitude by smiling. And the last one is use a positive tone when introducing yourself or saying hello. And adapting your professional wardrobe, which is choose attire based on customer and meeting location. And non-verbal message that says people emit through appearance should be positive in all sales situations. Professional wardrobe might be varied and require you to own a wide range of apparel. Then create business wardrobe sending positive non-verbal message. Business wardrobe depends on our firm's dress code, work you are conducting, whether you are meeting with a customer, and then dress code and culture of your customer. Body language give you clues. Customer communicate without uttering a word. Your ability to interpret non-verbal signal critical too, and salesperson skillful use and control of physical actions, gesture, and overall body position also valuable. Buyers send non-verbal signal via 5 communication modes. First one is body angle, second facial expression, third hand movement, fourth arm movement, and the last one is leg position. Body language signal have 3, which is about red, yellow, and green light. Green light acceptance signal, a green light give the go ahead, indicates buyer willing to listen and or buyer may like what is being said. Signal, body angle, leaning forward or upright, face smiling, pleasant expression, relaxed eyes, examining visual aids, direct eye contact, positive voice tone, hands relaxed and general open, arms relaxed and generally open, and leg crossed and pointed toward you or uncrossed. Caution signal, which is yellow light. Caution signal give neutral or skeptical sign, indicates buyer may be uncertain, skeptical concern. Body angle, leaning away from you, face puzzle, little or no expression, averted eyes or little eye contact. Arm crossed, tense, hands moving, fidgeting with some time, claps, legs moving crossed away from you. Disagreement signal, which is red light. Person may not be interested in your product. Body angle, retracted shoulder, leaning away from you, face tense, showing anger, wrinkle face and brow, little eye contact, arm tense, crossed over chest, hands, motions of rejection or disapproval, tense and clenched, legs crossed and away from you. Decoding a sales conversation, listen carefully. Listening helps you understand the buyer's needs, concern, which is about hearing versus listening. Listen to words, feeling, and thought, and then difference between listening and remembering. Listening is a process of receiving message the way the speaker intended to send it. Memory is recall over time. Listening impacts memory. Decoding sets of concepts have 3 levels of listening. The first one is marginal listening, which involves least concentration. Listener easily distracted by their thought, enormous room for misunderstanding during marginal listening. Second, evaluative listening requires more concentration and attention to speaker words. Listener actively hears but doesn't make effort to understand intent, doesn't try to understand, instead categorizes statement and concentrates on preparing response. Third is active listening. Listener refrain from evaluating the message, attempts to understand other person's point of view, focuses on words spoken and thoughts, feeling and meaning conveyed, requires listener to give the other person verbal and non-verbal feedback. That's all. Thank you.